A massive signing for LAFC. Welcome to episode 67 of LAFC Plus. No doubt what we're going to get to right off the jump. He is Mario Ruiz. I'm Dave Denholm, and welcome to LAFC Plus. Again, it is just a big show, Mario, a big week for LAFC because of a massive signing officially announced. The press conference held on Wednesday. We all knew it was coming, but Sunyong Min is officially black and gold. How you feeling, buddy? Good to see you.
I'm feeling great, Dave. After that press conference, I'll go back to where, I'm driving up to the stadium, heading to the press conference, and right away I start to notice that this one is going to be pretty big because I'm exiting the freeway off of MLK, and I look up, they have the big LED screen there that they put, the concerts that are coming up and the game coming up, and it's Sunny. Sunny's up there. And it's a cool, graphic of him with the black and gold shirt on, and he's kind of like celebrating. So that was kind of cool. And then I pull up and I park, start walking up to the stadium, and I noticed that his face is just plastered all over the entrance. I'm talking about, these big posters that are sky high covering the whole side of the stadium. That was cool. Then walking into the press conference, and it was just like so many people from around the world. People, getting content, bloggers, media, just gathering all the content that they could. It was just another level. It's like a press conference unlike any other that LAFC has done. It's probably the biggest press conference that LAFC has had in its short history. That's how big it was. Bigger than the Hugo Lloris, bigger than Giroud, Bale, Vela. This was massive.
Well, it's one of the biggest signings in MLS history. So that's no real surprise in terms of how big how big LA is, in terms of world football. We talked about it for years. Los Angeles is one of the best footballing cities in the world for so many fans there. And of course, many of those fans happen to be South Korean, which certainly doesn't hurt that Sun is their hero in terms of their national team. He's playing tremendous football for South Korea. They've already qualified for the World Cup coming up right here in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico next year. That's going to be huge. We'll talk a little more about that. But yeah, it is a perfect signing in my eyes, Mario. And I'll say it this way. On and off the pitch, this is a perfect signing. There's no guarantee it goes well on the pitch, right? No signing is what I mean. I'm not talking about even Sun. I'm saying when you sign anybody, there's no guarantee that person fits in, plays great, doesn't get hurt, whatever. It's still a perfect signing. We don't know the future. And yet it's a 10 out of 10. It doesn't matter because you have to take these chances. You have to take these opportunities as a club when they're presented to you to possibly go after players like this. And LAFC does. Bottom line, it's the biggest signing in MLS history in terms of money for the transfer fee. Reportedly, we don't know exact numbers on that. And that just goes to show you that what LAFC is all about as a club from the owners on down, bottom line. And they just go and get it done.
And it shows the reach of Sunny, right? And how much love he gets from around the globe.
Absolutely.
Fans from all over. They're going to follow him wherever he goes, no matter what team he plays for. So that's a great thing for LAFC because the black and gold, they just acquired Sunny, which comes with a lot of fans, countless amount of new LAFC fans, which is great, not only just from Korea, but from all over. And I noticed that night when Sunny arrived off the plane from LAX and he comes to the stadium just a couple of hours later, and he's at the stadium and everybody's just going nuts for him. That night, LAFC went way past 1 million followers on IG. That goes to show you as well, what it means off the pitch for the brand of LAFC. And, he's just going to continue to grow the brand of LAFC, and it's only going to get bigger and bigger.
I know many of you actually watch this podcast on YouTube on the LAFC channel. You can get LAFC Plus along with all of our other shows on the YouTube channel. That went up 30% in 2 days by my calculation. 30%.
Wow.
That's how many more people became YouTube subscribers in just literally essentially less than 2 days. Just ever since it's been officially announced, of course, that Sunyong Min is black and gold. I love it on the pitch. It is, I don't care what happens. It is a perfect signing because I can see it in my head on the pitch too. It fits. He's such a versatile player, Mario. He's so versatile. He can go to a lot of different spots on the pitch and hurt you. He can hit you with both right and left foot. Very strong both ways. There's not a preferred, maybe he has a preferred right foot, but it doesn't slow him down. If you take him to his left, it doesn't matter. He's going to beat you that way. There's just so many things that he can do up front. He can come back for the ball very well. He can play with his back to goal in terms of setting up other players. The guy has practically as many assists every year as he does goals, even though, realistically, he is a great goal scorer as well. So we'll see how it translates, with LAFC, but it's just so good. And a big factor is what we talked about a little bit there too. He's going to be playing in the World Cup here for South Korea, right? So all of that just adds up. Like, that is an LAFC player playing in the World Cup. If he's healthy, Lord willing, we hope everything works out great that way, because that's what for every player as they head into the World Cup, that's the major concern. He is just so dynamic for South Korea. He was so dynamic for Spurs for 10 years. Just a great player.
And he already loves the culture here at LAFC. He's been here before many years ago. He loved it then. He loves it already now. He loves the environment at the stadium. He was there the other night watching LAFC win, watching David do his thing. I'm pretty sure he loves what he sees from David. And he loves the atmosphere, the 3252, the best fans of all of MLS, the best stadium. So all these things, and of course, being amongst the huge Korean population in LA and among the Asian stars that are here as far as athletes, he feels already at home. I guarantee you he feels that way. His smile says it all. All that is going to translate into somebody being at peace and being comfortable off the pitch to be able to perform and just concentrate on all the football things that these stars got to, focus in on when they come to a brand new team.
The other day I was on a podcast for the game in preparation for Chicago, right? Chicago Fire. So a Chicago podcast had me on. They had asked a very interesting question. They said, how does this compare to the Carlos Vela signing? And it made me think, certainly, and that was something that had crossed my mind, obviously. It's very similar, right? These are very similar in how big they were. I think there's always a little bit more, I guess, pressure for the organization and the player when you're the first signing. Like, you have to be that first major signing. Like, you're going to carry a franchise into existence. It's like, maybe that's right? That's always going to be bigger, if you will, because if Carlos Vela signing failed, you might not have the crowd you have every night at BMO Stadium, right? Always sold, just electric, So, maybe for certain reasons, Carlos Vela signing is going to be the biggest signing in the history of MLS or LAFC, rather, forever, because it had to work, and it did, and it was amazing. But if you're looking at just the impact and the player and where it could take the club, again, this is right there. This is just, it's so comparable, like, this guy is.
I was telling you the other day, Dave, don't be surprised when his jersey becomes the top selling jersey in all of MLS next season. He's that type of guy, he's loved, been respected by fans all over the world, not just for what he does on the pitch, but for the guy that he is off of the pitch as well. And I talked to him about that too. So we'll get to that a little bit later. We have a 1v1 interview with him, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But fans all over, they just love this guy. And only certain players like Luka Modric and those type of guys like the Chiellinis get this type of love and respect. Like, there's not going to be too many opponents, away games where he's going to get booed, if any. Like, this guy is just loved by everybody, and everybody's going to just love to see him in their stadiums as he comes to town.
Yeah, you bring up something interesting with the Modric, Chiellini kind of. We saw that with Tottenham. That's how you know a player who's just a cut above. It's that deep hurt the fans feel when he has to leave. When it's time to go. Maybe they agree, like, okay, it's a good time for him to make another move and kind of change up his life or whatever. And they're never going to say a bad thing about it. They're not upset about it. Yeah, they're upset that they lose him, but they're not upset at him. Like, he's just too classy. The fans loved him at Spurs. They were going to always send him off with, nothing but love. And that just goes to show you. Same thing for Chiellini, Modric, guys like that. There's very few anymore. Let's be realistic. Players move so much.
They're true
that
captains.
You spend 10 years. Captains, right? Yeah. You spend 10 years at a club doing what he did, then you deserve that. And that's exactly what the Spurs fans gave him, was just an amazing send-off. So it just goes to show.
Special moment. That was a special moment when he came off of that pitch and he took off the armband. He was so emotional and gave it to his teammate. But yeah, you don't get that if you're just an ordinary player. You don't get that chance to come off the pitch early and have, the whole stadium clap it up for you and you say goodbye and wave off to everybody. You don't get that unless you are one of these type of players like Son and like a Modric.
Good players don't get it. Great players don't get it. Legends get it. That's exactly right. And that's what he is.
Right.
And boy, their loss, of course, is our gain. And, again, they send him off with love, if you will, and he had nothing but love for Spurs too, which is a classy sign as well. But no doubt he's ready to be black and gold and to be here and give it his all for us. And cannot wait to call his matches. Can't wait to just.
His days are done with LAFC. Imagine the love he's going to be. He's going to be one of the most beloved players at LAFC in history among all those Carlos Velas and the Bwangas and all. He's going to be right up there with all of those guys.
Well, a good way to do that is win trophies, Mario. And I think that's another thing we have to think about is he immediately improves LAFC by leaps and bounds. Now, again, great team. LAFC, frankly, even if we couldn't get the deal done, let's say you never even heard that they were trying to sign Sunyong Min. Maybe he picked another team or whatever. LAFC still have a very good shot to win it all this season, I believe. And we'll talk more about that based on what I saw in the Leagues Cup, quite frankly. I liked a lot of stuff I saw, but Son just takes it. Another great player that just comes in and it's not just hyperbole. Like, he's that good, and he's going to just change how teams have to play us. They'll never have seen him play for LAFC yet. It's going to be such an advantage. There'll be teams we might play in the playoffs that we don't have to play anymore in the regulars. Maybe we already played them twice. They won't even know, other than on film, what how to handle it necessarily. So. Could be a very massive boost for this team, and will be, I'm sure, on the pitch too.
And I think there's a lot of casual sports fans here in LA that probably don't have a soccer team, but a lot of people are intrigued and interested in this guy Sonny because he's that charismatic. He has that it factor about him. And I just see that from a lot of casual fans that are asking me, because they know what we do for LAFC and they know, that we're so connected with the team. And they're asking me like, and I tell them like, you gotta you gotta just see this guy, not only just for what he does on the pitch, but you're going to fall in love with him, just the guy, the character. And I had a chance to talk to him. It was a cool chance to meet him for the first time and talk to him. So we'll get to that right now. Here's my talk with Sonny here at BMO Stadium yesterday. Goal, now that the press conference is over, it's about time to put on that black and gold shirt. What excites you the most about playing for Los Angeles Football Club?
I mean, it's just everything, the club, the fans, and the players, and obviously the amazing stadium. I think everything just suits me. So this is one of the reasons that I joined. And as John said in the press, I think we want to go high as possible. This is my always football aim, that I want to go always the limit, or sometimes if I have to cross the line, then I will cross the line, so I will push hard as possible to make this club proud. Now, people know you, know your talents on the pitch. What do you want LAFC fans to know about you, the person, away from the pitch? Just happy guy, just like top human being, and just give a positive vibe. Now smile on your face. So that's me. That's me. Yeah. Now you played in the Premier League. You played in the World Cup as well. What type of challenges do you feel that MLS can bring to you? Different challenges? I think it's totally different challenge. I mean, this is a league that is completely different than Europe. So it doesn't mean that when I was successful in Europe, it doesn't mean that I will be successful for free. So I have to earn this. I have to work hard to make this league performing. So I'm performing well. So I start from zero. I want to push high as possible. That I want to, and the club pay a lot of transfer, So I want to give something back if I receive something, So it's a time to show me on the pitch that what I can do, and I will definitely show some interesting skills, interesting goals, and some fun games. Now, how special is it to come to a city like Los Angeles, where there's
many Asian sports stars here already. Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, Lakers have Rui as well. How special is that for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's very special. I mean, there's a lot of Asian players, Asian like, baseball or football, like, a lot of celebrities in LA. I think which is that makes it even more special. This city has something that everybody dream for, and coming here, playing football that I most love, and in this weather, lovely weather, compared with UK, I think you can't just complain. So I think it's just a really, really dream come true.
Thanks for the time, Sonny. Welcome to LA.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
One of the things that I really love from that interview there is where he talked about he knows that LAFC paid a lot of money to make this transfer happen, so he wants to give back, and he knows that he's going to start from zero and he has to earn it in MLS. And those are some good things to hear from Sonny there.
Yeah, there's some reports of numbers that are kind of fluctuating a little, but most of the reports, have it as the highest transfer fee in MLS history. So yeah, that is a lot of pressure, no doubt. I mean, no, is it numbers like you might see in Europe on certain transfers where they're going into the 9 figures? No, but it's still a significant transfer, especially for this league. And he knows there's pressure on him. You can hear it, but in a good way. I like the fact he says he's a guy who has a smile on his face. I like that. He's got a good disposition about him, always has. At least that's always been the case with, what people who talk about him in terms of what kind of person he is. So yeah, that was fun, Mario. Good stuff there, brother. Now, you also talked with John Thorrington, who had to go get this deal done. Of course, he's the co-president and general manager of LAFC. You want to roll that one here. Here's Mario Ruiz with our co-president and GM, John Thorrington.
Yeah, I was talking to him about the star power of Sun, not just in Korea, but, globally as well. So
There is no other. And so for us to be able, we call it this gift to our city, to be able to connect with our community. And he transcends, it's not just Korea, it is a lot of LA that, I remember when Sonny came in 2018, it might have been 2019, but following the World Cup in 18, and he had scored a goal against Germany that helped Mexico, and there was this amazing moment with a lot of our supporters and our Mexican community connected. So he transcends borders, but for us, it is a very intentional part of our calculus that we are signing players that embody our values, that also connect in deep ways with our community.
Now you talk about that World Cup. He also played in the Premier League, dominated as one of the stars of the past 10 years for the Premier League. Now he comes here to MLS. What type of different challenges do you think MLS will present to Sonny?
Yeah, we've seen and we have experience with this with players who have had great success abroad, and scouting is always an exercise of translation of it looked like this here, how's it going to look here? I think the things that Sonny will have to adjust to is the travel, some of the weather, some of the altitude, things like that. But having studied his physical makeup, we don't think that will be a problem, and he is the utmost professional. So we think that we have de-risked it with Sonny in terms of what sort of adaptation is always required.
Well, congrats on the big move.
To us all.
We're looking forward to it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
And John Thorrington is so good at what he does. We all know that, especially because Sun said that LAFC was not his first choice until JT went up there and sold him on it. So JT
that's amazing.
Really good at what he does.
Yeah, look, JT has a lot to work with, right? John has a lot to go in with Los Angeles and the club and, the atmosphere and everything else, the 3252 and all the fans. He has a lot to work with, but you have to still sell somebody on that if they're it's not their first choice, right? A lot of times people, that's just human nature. Your first choice is the one you really are going to go with most of the time. To hear in this situation that John Thorrington goes in and gets it done, kudos. And I love that he, of course, says to everybody, you say congratulations, and immediately John's trying to deflect credit away from him and on some level, but we're going to give him credit, no doubt about it. He got the job done, and as did his staff, I'm sure, as he talked about how they had to scout, look for things at work, and certainly Son is a home run there, no doubt about it. Not to use a baseball metaphor or anything, of course, you mentioned Shohei Ohtani, but it is that kind of signing, it is just that big, and when you first hear it, you kind of have to wrap your brain around it. Now it's like, after a little while, we've had so many of these in a way, not to this level, but these big names that you're like, okay, you start to quickly transition to how is he going to help the team? He's going to help them an awful lot. How is the team going to help him? Where does everybody fit in around him? And yeah, it's going to work. And that's the exciting thing, no doubt about it. I am jazzed to call these games with Sunyong Min in the black and gold too. That is really awesome, Mario. Good stuff there with those. Now, Mario mentioned the Leagues Cup, and obviously that wrapped up for LAFC. We are eliminated despite a great way to finish the Leagues Cup with a rotated squad that hasn't seen a lot of minutes together, certainly. They haven't seen a lot of minutes. And they go out and just, let's just go beat Tigres 2-1. I mean, it's just a team who, by the way, Tigres is into the quarterfinal from Liga MX. They're going to advance. LAFC will not. But LAFC just, punch them in the nose, 2-1. No problem. Call it a day. But, look, I got to say, Mario, there was some disappointment, right? Initially, when you see the scores the next night that eliminate LAFC, essentially, because we were hanging by a thread, let's be realistic. It was always going to be a long shot going into that match day 3, but we got the job done. Yeah, you get eliminated. There's some disappointment. I've had a little time to think about it, and I got to say, I think this Leagues Cup was really, really good for LAFC, and also just a good, just good 3 performances. I thought it was a really well-played little tournament for LAFC.
Yeah, going into the tournament, honestly, Dave, I did kind of feel like this is going to be a tough one for LAFC to really make a deep run. And I'll tell you why, just because first off, Aaron Long, he had the season-ending surgery, so that was tough to deal with. And actually, shout out to Aaron, because I did see him at the training facility the other day in great spirits, on the crutches, but in great spirits. And then secondly, I knew about the green card process that was going on with Sergi and Lloris as well, so they were going to miss some matches. And then I just felt like the guys, they're coming off of the FIFA Club World Cup, a little bit, a lot of travel there, a lot of games in a short amount of time. The guys could be, a little bit tired. So I just kind of felt like it was going to be an uphill climb, honestly. But that being said, though, with all the guys that stepped in on those rotated lineups, Smolikov, David Martinez, Nielsen, Tafari, Thomas Hasal stepped up big time. I mean, these guys came in there and showed a lot of character, and it's hard to do that whenever you don't get a lot of minutes sometimes, or you don't always start, and you have to come on and prove yourself in those moments, and they did, and that was a very impressive win against Tigres, a team that wanted to go out there and put their best starting 11, and they needed that win. And LAFC just played a really, really good game and took the full 3 points.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Tigres with that loss was on the verge. They could have been easily bounced. It turns out there were some results that went their way the next night, unlike, went against LAFC. So it went Tigres' way, essentially, with LAFC or with MLS teams doing well. So Tigres are advancing on their 6 points. LAFC got 6 points and are heading home. Well, metaphorically, of course. They all played all 3 games at home, but they're out of the tournament. So first of all, I got to say, you mentioned all 3, but those are the 3 I had on my list of players who really shone. I mean, LAFC played well. The team played well. All 3 matches. I love the rotation. You start out with maybe a bit of a heavily rotated side, get them some minutes. You go back to what is kind of considered maybe your starting, like a more typical starting 11. In the middle game against Pachuca, you go right back to the heavily rotated side that does very well. Like, everybody played well. You got people rest, which is great, even though they saw minutes, but they still got some rest. And Denis Bouanga didn't have to play the 3rd game, didn't even play. He got rest. I love it. But the 3 who shone are the guys you mentioned too. David Martinez he just absolutely the thing that stood out to me most, Mario, and I've been telling you and everybody else I've been talking to about this tournament, is he just blows by top quality defenders as if they're standing still with the football. Like, he's not just running by them to go make runs, which he did, and we saw the rewards on some of those, but with the ball, he'll turn a defender and he's gone. And these are like top quality Liga MX left backs, mostly left backs. He's playing a lot on the right. Just leaves them in the dust. And it was maybe more, because we're used to seeing him play against MLS guys, of course, MLS teams, and he does the same thing. But when you see it against another league, another great couple of teams there that we had to play, Mario, wow. I mean,
I think
player of the tournament for me, for LAFC, David, 3 goals, just wow, just incredible.
He really opened up a lot of eyes in this Leagues Cup tournament. Hopefully, one of those Mexican teams don't try to come up and snatch him away from us. But I'm pretty sure they are thinking about it after seeing what he did in those 3 games against those Mexican sides. But he just had that opportunity and he took advantage of it, right? He knew he was going to start every single match and he just took advantage, came really inspired into these games, really motivated, and just proved what he was all about. And he was cooking in every single game, 3 goals in 3 Leagues Cup matches, and just straight up entertainment every single time he touched the ball. You can't look away. You don't want to walk away. You don't want to blink because you don't know what he's about to do. And when he celebrates his goals, I love how he's just so confident and calm and just like straight face staring up at the crowd with the sweat dripping from his face and everybody's mauling him. And he's just chilling, just looking up. Just the aura of this kid is just through the roof. 19-year-old from Venezuela is just killing in Leagues Cup. And hopefully we see a lot more of this as we get into this final third of the MLS season now.
Yeah, I don't think it can be overstated what you just mentioned, 19 years old, because I kind of joked about it on the broadcast of that third match. The golazo he scores, just holding off Juanjo Peralta, one of the tough defenders in the middle there for Tigres, just a tough defender, tough guy. And, Martinez shows all the strength in the world to hold him off, to get that goal right through Nahuel Guzman, one of the best keepers around, certainly one of the best keepers in North America, Guzman. He goes right through him with the ball. And, he gets – look, here's the thing about the 32-52. When LAFC scores, people end up getting soaked, let's say, right? Let's call it a beer shower. That's probably what it is. It might be some Diet Coke in there, might be some other stuff. Let's be realistic. Yeah. It's probably a beer shower. And I kind of joke, he's not even close to being legal to drink when he's getting showered with beer there accidentally because people are throwing it all over themselves. And that they're like, but that's how young he is still. Like, I mean, his kid has got a bright future. We know that. And we've been talking about him here. Like, I will not hear any poor talk about David Martinez. I'm sorry. Like, he is just, for me, one of the brightest talents on the planet coming up at 19 years old, really. And what a coup it was, again, that we got him to come to LAFC first and foremost. And he's just showing why John Thorrington and his staff were so pumped, to bring him in, to even go after him. And just, but that really stood out to me, just the turning of defenders. He's getting so much better at that. It always was in the arsenal a little bit, but he just didn't show it as much. Now, then he's also making runs behind, as I mentioned earlier, like the first goal when he pops it over the keeper, in the first match and gets that goal. That was a beautiful run. Great ball over the top to him, Timmy Tillman, but just great recognition. He's starting to see things easier, quicker, better. By the way, one thing I wanted to point out about David Martinez in this tournament, his defense. Guy was stealing the ball all over the place. Like, he was pressing.
He's doing the work.
Well.
He's doing all the work on both sides of the pitch. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that brings us to another guy who did exactly that, as Mario said, both sides of the pitch. One of my other really stars of this tournament, like kind of stepping forward, is Artur Smolikov. I mean, another young player, but wow, did he look? He looked like he belonged, and then some. Man, he had a great, not good. He had a great tournament for me, Mario.
He can almost start on any team in MLS right now. I mean, he's that good, and that left foot is deadly from distance. I love to see him pull that too, like have that shot. Anytime it's there, he knows he's going to take it. He just needs a little bit of space, and he'll pull the trigger. He'll have that shot. So he's exciting to watch, and he's a strong dude too. He does not take anything from anybody. He'll stand you up. He'll bump with you. He'll shoulder to shoulder with you. He'll body you. Really like what I see from Smolikov.
Yeah, I don't disagree. He really had a nice tournament. Getting into the attack, always looking to kind of pick his spots. Then all of a sudden he'll pop up and he's already well down the field. That's what you got to stretch defenses. LAFC's doing that with him. Really good stuff. And another guy who I am really happy for too, because he had one start in MLS this season, and it was kind of a rough like really rotated, heat of schedule, kind of went up to Seattle, and boy, did we got our teeth kicked in. No question about it in that match. And he bore the brunt of that. Now, of course, it wasn't all his, fault. The team loses 5-2. The keeper's going to get get a lot of the blame, but it wasn't really. And to see him come into this Leagues Cup with 2 matches in a row where he played really well, some huge saves. Of course, the 2 PK saves against Pachuca. Then he makes some really big saves against Tigres to actually help with the 2-1 win. I thought Thomas Asal really stepped up nicely.
Yeah, he did play well. I mean, a lot of these guys, they don't get the chance, to get in there with a guy like Hugo Lloris, playing in front of them.
Yeah.
But to step
Good
in
luck.
there,
Yeah.
all of a sudden, and especially in a tournament where there's PKs, it's tough to do. But he loved that moment. He said, as a keeper, you want these moments, and that's the type of mindset you want from goalkeepers. Goalkeepers are always a different breed of people, different breed of a player. So yeah, he's one of those guys that really stepped up, along with many more. Tafari as well is doing his thing.
Oh yeah,
So
he's
many
great.
players
I
for
mean,
LAFC, the depth and the character of this team is really impressed me in Leagues Cup.
yeah, because there was, Kenny Nielsen, and I didn't even mention him. My goodness.
Yes.
He totally
Solid.
belongs, clearly.
Yes.
I mean, it's clear he's proved that he can play. That's what I loved. Adam Saldana just comes in. He doesn't play a ton. Oh, by the way, you're going to start a few games here, Adam. Now go get to work. You hardly played much. You haven't had a lot of minutes. Ryan Raposo, haven't had a lot of minutes yet. Get in there, and they're just pros. These guys have been around, and they just go do it. And our depth, like anybody who questions LAFC's depth just doesn't watch the team much, quite frankly. So,
Right.
this is just what we do. People will see the score from across the country the next morning, let's say, when they didn't stay up. If they're on the East Coast, they didn't see the Tigres LA. Oh, well, it must have been Denis Bouanga with a brace, and the starting 11 beat Tigres' starting 11. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, that kind of makes sense. That's what LAFC does. No, it wasn't that. It was a nice win, but it was by guys that you probably haven't even seen play yet this year for LAFC, because they haven't gotten a ton of minutes, so.
It was hard.
And even a guy like David Martinez, yeah, David has probably not started as many games as he would like. That's the way it is on a good team, especially when you're still trying to find your way at 19 years old. But when you do get your opportunity, so many guys try to do too much. If you go into that tournament saying you're going to be the man in this tournament, you're going to start 3 games. Most guys, that the pressure does get to you, and it did not for this team and for David Martinez. And that's what I'd take so many positives out of this tournament. We don't advance. There's nothing you can say about that. Like, you're not going forward. You're not going to win, and that's a disappointment. Bottom line, we have to win trophies with LAFC. You've got to be playing for trophies. But there was a lot of positives to take from this. And by the way, they were still working.
Another positive for me is just the way the format is, the new format of Leagues Cup in 2025. It was improved from last year's format, where probably some tweaks are probably needed again for next season. But all these changes are improving, and they're making it a better tournament in a positive way. And the fact that we see MLS teams against Liga MX teams a lot more is a huge improvement. That's what a lot of people around the league, both leagues, wanted. So we're getting that. And then the fact that this is a quick way to get three different, spots into the CONCACAF Champions Cup, that's also huge.
Absolutely.
And, to punch your ticket into that is massive. So,
well, a lot of people are going to be upset
next year.
Yeah, I read a lot about it, of course. Hindsight. Oh, we didn't make it. We have 6 points. This is ridiculous. Okay, I understand. You only have 4 teams out of 18. We knew this going in. It was going to be brutally tough.
Yeah.
What everybody's worried about now is, there's going to be so many games where 2 eliminated teams. It doesn't matter. Very few of those. But I'll tell you one thing. What it does do for this tournament is you win your first 2 matches, you are guaranteed nothing yet. Nothing. You got to come out firing in the third. So all the good teams that you want to, there's no rest. There's no giving your guys the day off in the third match because you've already clinched nothing, even with 6 points. It's possible you could have, but that wasn't the case, right? You have to go. Even Seattle and Portland, who had won both their first matches, had to go into Wednesday night's games full bore, power, trying to get something out of it so they don't get dumped out of the tournament on 6 points like LAFC has unfortunately done, got 6 points. That is amazing. Like, you got the best teams having to go, like Tigres. Mario said it earlier. They had to throw out their best lineup despite winning their first 2 games because they had nothing assured. They could have easily been ousted after we beaten them. Now, they are going through, but it was going to be close. And so that's a cool thing, a feature, if you will. There's no resting in game 3 for the good teams. You've got to come out and really go hard for all 3, and that's going to lead to some great stuff. Mario, we're back to MLS action Saturday at Chicago, and airtime 7:10 and ESPN LA app is 5 p.m. Pacific. Very interesting game here, Mario. The Chicago Fire are intriguing to me. They're really rebuilt from the ground up, including Greg Berhalter as their manager, of course. But what are you seeing out of this team? What are you thinking about this match coming in? And it's on the road.
Yeah, it's on the road, and right off the bat, what sticks out to me is that Chicago Fire did not play in the Leagues Cup tournament. They weren't a part of this tournament, so that's how is both teams going to be affected by this, right? So if you haven't played, maybe you come out a little bit slower in that first 45 minutes because you're really not in rhythm. Maybe if you're a team like LAFC, you want to play games, right? Because a lot of the times, Cherundolo and some of the players, they say we want to be playing games rather than having time off. That way, we're not just training and training. This way we have real game minutes. So who is this going to benefit, right? And then secondly, I think LAFC is just going to come out guns blazing because, Denny Bwanga had the night off. He wasn't even on the roster in that 3rd game. I think he's going to come out firing. I think the momentum and just the energy from the whole Sonny deal and Sonny joining the team. I think everybody knows that this is the final third and this is the first game getting back to MLS. There's no more tournaments. There's no side tournaments to distract you. I think they're just focused on getting the highest seed possible for the playoffs. And then I think Cherundolo also is focused on trying to go out with a bang. I really do think he wants to go out with a trophy, and seeing the roster that he has, the players that he has, the stars that he has now, I think Cherundolo's really going to go all in on trying to do all he can to get a trophy here for LAFC.
Well, some key features of the Fire, if you don't know them very well, much more difficult to play against and beat under Greg Berhalter. Okay, they're certainly much improved just as an organization. You can see it. They go out and get Philip Zinkernagel and Jonathan Bamba as their new signings. A couple of new. Oh boy, are they good? I mean, Zinkernagel already 10 goals and 10 assists in MLS play. Like, he's low key MVP type player for what he's done for this team. Jonathan Bamba has been very good. He's a great winger, scores, but he's more than willing to assist. I think he has 8 assists already on the season, with Hugo Kuipers in the middle, of course, 14 goals. We knew him from last season, but so these new additions. Then they've got guys like Kuipers, Andrew Gutman playing really well. He's got 8 assists. Brian Gutierrez, a young player, still a young player. He's been around forever, it seems, but he's still only like 21. He's got 7 goals. Their problem is still giving up goals. They give up too many easy ones. Hopefully LAFC can take advantage of that. And they're not that great at home. They're kind of like a 500 team. I think they're 1 game above 500. They're barely 500 at home. Like, it's kind of just, they're perfectly comfortable on the road, but at home, it's not like they're some powerhouse where they have this massive home pitch advantage and they're just going to make it harder. You can go in here and get some results. So there is that possibility for LAFC coming off this Leagues Cup to go in there and certainly get 3 points and get right back at it. Mario, around the rest of MLS, you got a game to pick that you're looking forward to this week?
Yeah, I like the Cincinnati and Charlotte matchup. That one's a good one. I mean, obviously, Evander has been doing his thing in MLS, going for that MVP. Of course, he's making his statement for that. And he's also doing it in Leagues Cup. 2 goals in 2 games in Leagues Cup. He's just not stopping any tournament that he's in. And then Cincinnati just focused on trying to beat, Philadelphia. Philadelphia is just 1 point above them in the Supporters' Shield race. So I think Cincinnati and Charlotte's a good matchup to watch this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is a very good one. Especially, I think Charlotte really has to kind of, like, it's their time to, you better start turning it around a little bit now. Like, they were floundering for a little bit there. You don't want to be slipping too far, all all of a sudden you're battling to just make the playoffs. And that's, I think, Charlotte's kind of this season might, slip away from them if they're not careful. And certainly a game against FC Cincinnati is going to be no easy task. My game is Minnesota, Colorado. And Colorado, because they make a huge move. We didn't really talk about it, but it's another one of those where the league changed the rule about actually using transfer money, just cash, to purchase contracts, of players, transfers, essentially, just in the league. That hadn't happened until this season. So you'd see so many guys who maybe another team would love, but they couldn't work out the deals because of just the way MLS rules worked. So they'd end up leaving. Now, a player Mario just mentioned, Evander, huge, goes not maybe comfortable in Portland as much anymore. Maybe the Timbers would like to move on. They get $12 million from Cincinnati. He stays in the league. He's a known commodity, and he's incredible for Cincinnati. It's like you don't just lose him out of the league. Such a great player. And now Georgi Mihailovic, Toronto comes in, and I kind of feel like there's no way Colorado wanted to get rid of Georgi Mihailovic, obviously, but they just kind of got an offer they couldn't refuse, that dreaded line. $8 million by all the reporting out of transfer money. That's a big fee. So that Toronto's definitely building around him. They know what they have, though, right? They know how he plays in MLS, which is crucial, right? They know the type of player he is if you're Toronto, so you can scout him. You know who he's been playing against. You know all those factors. I mean, the factors that John Thornton talked about when you interviewed him earlier, like things that you have to figure out. Well, they know who Georgie is, so you maybe overpay a little bit, right? Maybe you do. Maybe no other team in the world is going to give Colorado $8 million, but they get it from Toronto. So I want to see what Colorado's, how they respond in a way, against a team like Minnesota, who I thought, I got to be honest, I was expecting more from them out of the Leagues Cup. Like, I thought they could be a real dangerous team in this type of tournament. And they're okay, not terrible or anything, but didn't see as much as maybe I thought I would out of them. So I think they need to kind of push it down the stretch, and start to really ramp it up. As Mario said, don't have many distractions now. It's time for LAFC to focus in on it. It's time for Minnesota, a team like that expects to do well, to kind of really turn it up. So that's going to be an interesting match. Once again, LAFC in Chicago, Saturday afternoon, airtime for the pregame, 5 p.m. Pacific. So it's a late afternoon in Chicago, or evening in Chicago, late afternoon in LA, I should say. 710 ESPN and the ESPN LA app is where you can hear my call. Cannot wait for that, Mario. Love this show. Love doing it with you. Episode 67 in the books, man. Take us out of here. Great stuff as always, buddy.
Yeah, all the hype, all that, just fueling LAFC and all
Son.
We can't wait. We can't wait for this Saturday. Son probably won't be ready for this one, but I think Hugo Lloris is back at training, so we look forward to seeing Hugo Lloris. Not sure if he's in the starting 11, but look forward to seeing him back, and looking forward to this final third of MLS, LAFC making that final push to get that highest seed in the playoffs. Let's keep it going, Black and Gold fans. That's Dave Denholm. I'm Mario Ruiz. This has been LAFC Plus. Peace.